Hello tankers and tankettes, and welcome to a viewer replay. Today we've got this rather quick Chi-Ri game for you, and it's basically going to be a Chi-Ri ruffle stomp, which is not really a phrase you get to say very often. This is Callum 633 2016, I think it is. It's a bunch of numbers anyway. We're just going to call him Callum, I'm assuming it's a him. And this is pretty much perfect for the Chi-Ri. And by that I mean he's top tier. He's very top tier. It's looks like a 5 something matchmaking. Was it 5-7? Yeah, it will be 5-7. So plenty of tier 6s to chew on. And of the entire enemy team, the only one that's got any appreciable amount of armor is the enemy OI. I mean, there's an 88 as well, but it's pretty easy to pen an 88 if you know what you're doing, if you know where to aim. So there's one armoured target, and why that matters is because although the Chi-Ri does have one or two good things going for it, penetration is not one of them. You need those squashy targets if you're going to get the full benefit of that good DPM, that quick clip reload. Because if you get to empty your clip at something, like so, the side of a tiger, or even the front of a tiger, it's, I think, 390 average damage for the clip. It's something like that. I think it's, yeah, it's like 130 for each shell. So if you get to just unload the clip, it's quite good. But there are a lot of tanks that you will meet, that generally, you know, you do meet, that have more than enough armor to withstand your pen, because it's the same penetration as you had with the tier 6 G-Toe. It's, I think, 155, so for a tier 7 medium tank, that's not great considering the rest of the characteristics even. There are tier 7s that have less than that, but generally they have other things going for them. This is a big, immobile, not particularly well armoured medium tank. And really the only great thing about it is how quickly you can whip those shots out and the damage of the clip when you get to do so. So when you get an unarmoured enemy team like this one, then it's really good news. So he's racked up just over 900 damage already. I think that was the first full clip he got. The other two were partial clips. He's being a bit cautious here because he doesn't want to get derped by the OI. He equally doesn't want to get derped by that KV2, both of which could take off the majority of his hit points. Another good thing about this enemy team, by the way, is apart from the KV2, the OI and artillery, everything else has comparatively low damage guns. Oh, having said that, the 90B, the Swedish tank destroyer, might actually have a decent alpha as well, but I can't remember offhand what that is. It's 105 mil. So having said that, actually that might be, you know, something to be wary about. But I mean, the Tigers are 220 or 240 depending on their guns. The T-34-85s are less than 200. There's things like Cromwells, which are 100 and whatever. So as long as none of the big guns hit him, he can absorb the hits. And like a French autoloader, you're going to have to absorb hits sometimes. You're just going to have to trade hit points to do damage. But unlike a French autoloader, you don't have that big clip potential. You can't roll up to somebody, take the hit, and unload your, you know, 90 mil, 105 mil or whatever. Is it 105 or is it 100? No, it's, yeah, it's 100 mil up to, I think, 120. You can't just roll up and clip somebody and take the hit and, you know, trade a single hit for their entire tank. You're going to need multiple clips as good as this clip is. So when you've got somebody like this OI who is unafraid of going in and taking the hits, that's very useful. This is another thing that Callum has going for him. He's got teammates willing to press in and take the hits and actually do heavy tank things. Although this Tiger 1, despite the fact that the OI is theoretically a one-shot, possibly a one-shot if he got a high roll, instead he chose to shoot Callum again. This is one of the downsides of the Chi-Ri, one of the many downsides. It's squashy, everyone knows it's squashy, and even when there is a better target to shoot at, sometimes people will fire at you because you're guaranteed damage pretty much. So that's the IKV out of the way. Kudos to that OI for actually, you know, driving up and getting in people's faces. Sometimes you'll see OIs that just hide at the back and don't bother doing that. and they're a bit of a waste of space in that case. But this guy allowed Callum to, you know, they helped each other out. If this guy had been alone, he probably would be dead at this point. But between the two of them, you know, the OI took the hits and Callum's been able to do a fair bit of damage, so it's worked very nicely. So there's one of the T-3485Ms. It's a bit more of a common sight now that they buffed it. There was once upon a time where you just never saw them because they were inferior to the T-3485 and the Rudy, but no, these days it's actually kind of decent. But still, with that extra armour, it's really only on the front plate, I believe, so the shots into the turret and the side were easily going to pen with this gun. It's for this lineup, for this matchmaking, it's easily enough. So with one arty having the ammo racked and the other getting finished off with that final clip, he ends with 7 kills, 3,594 damage done, Pascucci's medal, which is something you only need 2 arty for these days, given that there's now that restriction on how many arty can be in a game, and obviously you got the high caliber as well. So one more and it would have been a Radley Walters, but I'm not sure what the one more could have been, because that was a real smash and grab. I mean, it wasn't just him. That OI there in second place did very well, you know, 2100. So between the pair of them, they did a huge amount of damage to that enemy team. But it's not like the rest of the team wasn't doing things as well. The rest of the team was doing okay, although there were a couple at the bottom that did literally nothing. Having said that, let's see, an SU-100, Stuart Emil, and a Skoda T-25 who all had 0. The T-29 for that matchmaking did pathetically badly, only 300 damage done, so that's a single shot. T-25-2 only had about 2 or 3 shots. Yeah, so between the two of them and 1 or 2 other tanks that did reasonably well, they really mopped up. But if they hadn't been doing that well, I think that might have been a much more even battle. But no, that was a nice fire team there, as it was, as it were. The OI to take the hits and the Chi-Ri to dish out the damage. Not that the OI wasn't also doing a bit of damage themselves. So there you go. It was not really a tense or close game, but it's always nice to see the Chi-Ri having its day, because it doesn't get to do that very often. The vast majority of the time the matchmaking will be against you, especially if you're down tiered, and you don't even particularly get good premium ammo to make up for it. So yeah, there's a reason why it has the reputation it has. So anyway, that's that for that replay. That was a lot of that's in one sentence. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, you can hit that like button. You can leave any comments below. You can sub to my channel if you haven't already, and as always, stay tuned for more.